Howdy y'all, Dean Satilli here from the official home of Unofficial Grateful Dead and Music News. Reporting on Shakedown stream, we got the Grateful Dead at 7289 in Foxboro. I've talked about it before. This tour is so special to me personally. This was the first time I said fuck it to everything in life and I hit the road. I did everything. On July 1st, I had a job as an electrician's apprentice. I'll never forget, my boss told me at the end of the day, clean some shit up, clean all this up, and then we'll go home. And I said, you know what, you can clean this shit up on your own. I'm done here. And I'm going on Grateful Dead tour, and I was off to Foxboro the next morning where the tour, East Coast tour started. They did a few there at Shoreline in June to warm things up a little bit, but I don't know, you got 3 weeks later, you land in Foxboro. I've said before that tour openers, there's not a ton of super memorable tour openers, and there's exceptions to all of those things, naturally, and 89 was probably the exception to the tour opener theory, a complete exception to that, because the tour opener summer tour that we got, unbelievable. The tour opener for fall, I believe, that was Hampton. So the tour openers in 89 you didn't want to miss. And so I remember this one. I'm 19. I made the decision the day before. I'm doing the whole tour. Shocked the shit out of my family and my boss and everybody in my life, basically, when I said, listen, I'll see you all at the end of the summer sometime. I'm following this thing all the way across the country. And so I'm there in Foxboro, my 19-year-old self. This is going to be a good time. We get the show started. If I'm not mistaken, when they did this at Night Out at the Movies, there was some sound problems in the first set. I think they fixed the soundtrack to this. I could be mistaken. I'm not always right about shit. I say a lot of things. I just go according to my memory and my ears, but if I'm not, neither one of those can always be reliable, by the way. If I'm not mistaken, though, there was some sound problems when they did this for Night Out at the Movies. I think it was maybe in 2016. I was very excited for that Night Out at the Movies when it got announced, because for whatever reason, a soundboard never circulated of this show prior to that. There was no soundboards available out there. I had no idea why, and certainly one that we all wanted a soundboard to, and I'm glad to see that one that's pretty intact and sounds very good exists, and we got it last night along with the video, which was absolutely outstanding. So we get this thing started. It looks like they're having maybe some challenges. He's got Parrish out there. They're looking at his stuff. Garcia, he walks up to the mic, gives you how y'all doing, and that's the most Garcia talked all summer. I think that's the most he said that whole summer tour, is how y'all doing to start it off, and we get right into playing. This is a band feeling good. Everybody's very happy, and this is the playing opener, and here we are, and Weir's got fucking bobby pins in his hair. He's got barrettes or bobby pins, trying to keep his ponytail just right. That's okay, he's Weir. He's allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants, and there he is with his bobby pins or barrettes on his neck, keeping his ponytail back just right. Anyway, whatever he wants to do is okay with everybody, because he's Bob Weir and you're not. The playing opener, smooth and fast like my 19-year-old ass. I mean, that thing was moving. The jams were great. They're wasting no time going right at it. This is really the Grateful Dead at the pinnacle of a stretch. I mean, this whole stretch, 89, 99, this whole 3-year stretch was an extremely strong stretch. And they're in the midst of it here. You go Crazy Fingers next. Now this is we're there, and I'm thinking playing Crazy. That's not the way you typically open up shows at that point of the Grateful Dead's career. So this is a very unique kind of deal, opening up with playing Crazy Fingers. Both of them outstanding bands, obviously in great spirits. Following Crazy Fingers, you get the wicked Wang Dang Doodle. I mean, That song sometimes could just get played, but everybody was having a fantastic time on. You got Garcia howling on backup on that. They're just having a great time. There's one of those solo segments. Garcia's just feeling it like a motherfucker. Brent's seizuring out. We got the best of everything here. This is the opening night of a tour, and you're getting it good. It's a great wang dang doodle. A bit of a break in between there to tune up or kind of work out some kinks, whatever's going on. You got Phillies blowing kisses. Garcia's all smiles. This is a band that's feeling good and sounding even better. We Can Run next. There's a Brett giving you his contribution. You kind of look at that song today, and it's just as valid today as it ever was. The genius of a song written, all of the songs written by our songwriters, Barlow and Hunter, just wrote songs that have meanings that don't expire. They seem more relevant as every year passes by. That's brilliant. I'm not sure that's always as easy to do as it may seem from our own experience, but their songs are as valid today as they ever were. After that, we get Tennessee Jed. That's just fine. Kreutzmann, he's trying to get everybody a glass of water. He's trying to get everybody a glass of water. He's telling the camera, whoever's behind the camera guy, get water for everybody. So he wants everybody to get some water. And if I'm not mistaken, it worked. They came out and hosed us all down. I remember it's hiding my paper like a motherfucker when shit like that would happen. Uh-oh, the hose is on. Put your paper in the cellophane from your cigarettes or whatever you got to do, but please don't soak my sheets. Anyway, we all get soaked. That was a good time. Queen Jane's next. I'm going to make a sandwich during Queen Jane because I got time. I didn't eat dinner yet. It's time. Queen Jane gives you time to make a sandwich. I better be quick on the sandwich because I want to get to Lay Me Down. So there you are, night one of Summer '89 tour. Garcia drops To Lay Me Down right there. Show is great. It's a great show. It's you playing Crazy Fingers to open it up. Everybody feeling outstanding. And then you get To Lay Me Down. This is good stuff. Garcia out of sight on that. Or you get Cassidy, which was absolutely furious. Mickey, I'm watching Mickey through this whole show, and Mickey's just unbelievable. But his stick control, his showmanship. When Mickey had sticks and cymbals, he was just a showman. He was a beast up there. I just love Mickey, backhand and shit. And Mickey could give the cymbals a workout. Had him hanging up there. Always loved watching him. No better sounding hi-hat and rock and roll than what Mickey used to do with that. And all night long, boy, he just chopping it up. And watching him, what a beast. Mickey right there, just one of the finest contributions to some very unique drumming, and just loved it. Just like that. These are the times that I look at Mickey and I just think, man, I would love to see some sticks in his hand again. He could just kill it, and he was such a showman. Last night was a great example of that. Don't Ease closes the set. That's just fun. It's funny, Don't Ease, I'm listening to Don't Ease, and the solo part on Don't Ease after we have some verses, Garcia, he wastes no time. There's no time warming up the solo, no time building it. It was like instant lather. It was like if you were going to wash your hair, shampoo your hair, instant lather. You put the soap on your hands, you look in the mirror, poof, you got lather. There's no time to rub it in or warm it up. That shit, poof, instant lather. He goes right after it, drives it hard, and then kind of things end abruptly. Seemed like it was a little bit of a short one. Anyway, Summer Tour '89 is off to an amazing start. That was great stuff. They come out for the second set, and you got the funky drum stuff's going on. They're playing with all kinds of triggers and drums are going off. And I remember this distinctly because they opened up the second set with Friend of the Devil, and that was unheard of back then. So they were pretty, had songs that were pretty set in their positions, and second set Friend of the Devils really didn't exist much back then. And it was a fast one. It was a Friend of the Devil was very slow for most of its life, outside of the studio version, when the Dead played it, it was a very slow song. This was such a unique experience. It was fast, and I thought it was great. They opened up the set with it. The jam was great. It was fast. It was unique. I remember loving it, and that was it. I don't think they ever played it like that again. It was like one and done. I'm not sure why. Maybe they didn't like it. We loved it. It goes to show sometimes the things you love, maybe the band doesn't love as much. The things you don't like so much, the band might be crazy about. So I don't know why or how that one worked, but I remember that night thinking, holy shit, they're opening the second set with Friend of the Devil. That's surprising, and it was moving hard and fast, and I thought it was great, great treatment to that song. Truckin' next, and listen, band's in high gear. This thing is moving just right. During the build-up jam in Truckin', they got this great shot. Billy and Garcia are just, they're right there with each other, and Billy's making sparks like a motherfucker. Garcia, he's doing it with them. Sooner or later, those sparks catch the wick. The wick, obviously, is one of Phil's bass strings as that whole thing builds and boom, and right there, everybody's mind explodes as Truckin' is completely unleashed. That end jam, that tension's built up, released to perfection. That's good stuff right there. It made me so happy watching that interaction there between Billy and Garcia. Billy, just such an animated dude playing back there, and him and Garcia, they were strong on that. He's gone. This show really is, this is a stretch in a period of Grateful Dead time where Weir's tone was just, it was soothing. He played some soothing tones, most non-abrasive Weir sounds through summer of '89. I love the tones he was going with everything he was playing back then. That was a good stretch. It was the most non-abrasive tone ever on Weir's guitar, and as that jam is just creating a multitude of emotion and feeling within the building. I think we were all just vaporized by Garcia on the end jam of that. You looked at Brent, but this was funny because Truckin' to Buffalo, the show that followed this, that they streamed a little while back. The thing I loved about Brent, he got just as vaporized by Garcia as most of us. There's that one segment at the jam, the initial jam that kind of the dew takes off on, and when it's done on that Truckin' to Buffalo, Brent's just totally vaporized. You just see Brent, he's sitting up at his boards. I don't know, he's vaporized. He's almost just frozen in time. And he was kind of like that during the He's Gone. Loved watching the interaction between Brent and Garcia is priceless. This video absolutely captures it in spades, and that's why those of us that came around at that time absolutely loved Brent, absolutely loved his connection to Garcia, and it's just such a special thing as everyone's getting vaporized by Garcia on that He's Gone. Sounded like they were going hard for the spoonful. Spoonful or Smokestack following He's Gone or Truckin'. That was seemed like it became a very regular thing once we got to 90 or 91, and it seemed like that became regular. It was a little more special throughout the 80s. They didn't do it as much, so it seemed like they were going hard for that spoonful. It never materialized. It seemed like the drummers were maybe thinking about going right to drums. That changed. You get Eyes. You're listening to this Eyes. The jams are going around. It's really, it's orbiting your mind and just dotting it with all kinds of exclamation points as this hurricane of sound, this tornado of music is swirling around. It's like trying to read 5 books at the same time. It's just all this information going in, and that was incredible. The Eyes is wonderful. Really, this show I love. Drums, we get to. Drums is a beam-a-thon. Mickey, incredible on the beam. He just gave the beam an extra workout. It's a total beamathon for Mickey on that. Garcia during Space got the Strat. That's when they began playing with the MIDI stuff, and a lot of MIDI through Space and through some of the songs they were playing. So he's got the Strat that's all midified. He's working scales. He's got these crazy thought rearranging scales that he's running all over. And in your mind, the scales they're almost making you chase things that you don't even know if it exists or not. It's like you're mentally chasing an invisible butterfly as Garcia is running through these scales during Space. As it develops, your friends are running around Space. It's night one of tour. You don't have a lot of references of what it might be. It could be anything on night one. That's some of the excitement of the first couple shows is you're trying to guess what you're going to hear. It could be anything on night one. So everything walks around during Space, it seems. You hear a piece of a lot of things. There's always Miracle and Watchtower and the usual suspects that are possibilities out of Space. And Garcia's scales, they all start leading you to the wheel. All scales begin leading to the wheel. And indeed, the wheel comes out. The wheel's his blazer. Sounds outstanding. During that part, during those jams, it's funny how you see how much Weir is doing. They had one shot on his hands, and he's got all kinds of things going on. Incredible stuff. I don't know if you even hear him, but I was thinking to myself, without him doing that, I'm not sure what you'd hear either. So he could be creating things we don't even know about. Those notes could have went out into the atmosphere to return later when they were needed. I have no idea, but they showed him being very, very busy during Space, and it was kind of like a constipated toddler on the toilet, working very hard. Nothing's coming out. At least that's what it seemed. So anyway, this ends up, it goes to Dear Mr. Fantasy. Dear Mr. Fantasy, Hey Jude segment. Unbelievable. Really, that is worth all the time you spend watching this one. Garcia and Brent locked into the moment, killing Dear Mr. Fantasy, locked into each other. If you tried to stand between Garcia and Brent during the jams on that song, it's clear there'd be nothing left of you but particles. I mean, I'm certain if you tried to stand in the midst of that energy, you'd probably spontaneously combust. It's never been proven. Probably Parrish has come close, but never in a moment that intense. But he's been close to that, so I'm sure he's been able to take that energy. It's become some of who he is, and that's why he's an incredible human. Anyway, the Fantasy Hey Jude, unbelievable, outstanding. Sugar Mags, as if you hadn't had, during the one jam on the Fantasy and the Hey Jude thing, they go to Garcia. Garcia throws one over his head. He's doing windmills. This is Jerry at his very best, all night long, dancing, having fun. He's in full rock star mode. They close it with Sugar Mags, and Sugar Mags is just outstanding. This one, just killer. The Quinn Encore, always one of my favorites. I love the Quinn. So this one, to me, this is an amazing tour opener. The only thing that ever bothered me an inkling about this show was the absence of a Garcia ballad post-Space, because Garcia was feeling so good that night. Anything he played would have been unbelievable. And so sometimes the wheel almost got counted as the post-Space Garcia tune. I never liked that. I always wanted a ballad in there. You didn't get the ballad here. You just got a rocker all the way out. So they rocked this one. That's the way you get a tour open. This was a great, great night. I'll never forget it. My 19-year-old self there in Foxboro, boom, after the lights went out, thinking, holy shit, I got 20 more of these, or 19 more of these, or whatever the hell it was, 18 more of these to go. I'm on the road for the duration. That's an excited 19-year-old heading to. I remember we stayed at this cheap hotel somewhere around Foxboro. About 3:30 in the morning, we got in the pool and we arranged the patio furniture in the hotel pool perfectly. We put the tables in there, we put the chairs around, and we didn't realize how hard that was going to be. It was simple in our minds, but to get everything to kind of stay where we hoped it would stay and position it down there just right wasn't nearly as easy as I thought it might be. But we took the hotel, the pool furniture, we rearranged it at the bottom of the pool. It was good to be 19. And we had a bunch more shows to go, and the road goes on forever. I remember that morning I had to make the final decision. I was there with my buddy Scott. He's driving home. And so, you coming with me? So I got to go home. He's going to work. Or he's you know what, Scott? I'm doing the whole tour. It's for certain. I'm doing this whole tour. Took the backpack. Started talking to people in the parking lot of the hotel. Can I get a lift to Buffalo? And from there, that's how we did it that whole summer. '89 was a summer that there was nights I was a wook sleeping in a park. There was nights I was the king of the world, staying at the Marriott and eating cheeseburgers and milkshakes for as a room service after shows. It was the Prince and the Pauper tour. Some days were just good. You made a bunch of money on the lot. You always spent whatever the hell you made pretty much. And there were other nights you just didn't get it done. And that left you sleeping in a car or in a park somewhere. It was an exciting tour. And my mind was being developed. And really this was an incredible experience. Love to relive it. Was so happy that Dave Lemieux, he says, pulling some things we haven't seen yet out of the archives. Got one from '91 coming up. I'm very excited that according to the interview they did pre-show, they said that we'll be seeing some new things we haven't seen yet. I'm really looking forward to that. So far, other than that Buckeye Lake show, I think we'd seen everything else that they had put up there. But really watching it again, I never have a problem with that. This stuff is great stuff. I love you all forever. We'll talk to you soon. Maybe we'll do this again after next week. Love you forever.